All right, so here I am at the global launch of the Buick Envista, but what I want to do today is show you another new model, a refreshed model, which is the Buick Encore GX. So behind me, I have the Buick Encore GX ST, and I have the Buick Envista ST. I want to compare the differences between them, especially if you're looking at purchasing one of these. What makes them different? All right, so here we go. What are the differences between the 2024 refreshed Buick Encore GX and the brand new from the ground up 2024 Buick Envista? Well, first and foremost, if you didn't have these side by side, I could easily tell how if you had them coming towards you, you would think it's the same vehicle. But when you see them side by side, you can definitely see this kind of looks more, a little wider, where this is a little more narrow. Although interestingly enough, the width of the vehicles really isn't that much different at all. I think it's fairly identical when it comes to the actual measurements. It's more, you're gonna see in a moment, more the length of the vehicle, the height of the vehicle, that's the difference, and also some drive modes, engine choices and stuff as well. I will be putting up, during this video, the Canadian and American pricing to get into it, as well as the ST pricing. And also in Canada, for my Canadian viewers, there is going to be some certain trim levels you're not going to be able to get in Canada. I shouldn't say trim levels, but front wheel drive options, for an example. In the Encore GX, there's only going to be all wheel drive offered, just as a heads up that way. So I will kind of put that in text here once I get all that information in front of me. But as we look at the front of these vehicles, like I say, they both have the beautiful checkmark LED daytime driving lamps, and as well as that's where your signal is going to be. And the headlights are, of course, down here below. That is just something that's obviously you're going to see in these. Now, one thing I found interesting, and I found this during a drive on these, is when you go around to the back of the vehicle, on this over here, this is where your signal actually is. So these are taillights, of course, and reverse lights, but your signal is actually down there below. And on these, it's different. It's your signal's there, but the Envision has a little bit, or the Envista, pardon me, has a little bit different signal light area. Now, if I can get maybe a side profile, let's show you the difference on the roof heights of these. Kind of hard to tell maybe from this angle, but this is definitely more sloped. Actually, I think we're talking about 3 inches lower, 2.9 to be specific, lower roof height on the Envista versus the Encore GX. Now, if you are a Chevy fan or a Chevy customer, you might know these vehicles right here as the Trailblazer and the Trax. That's basically the similar size range. So a lot of that we're going over is going to be similar in the Chevy lineup as well. But again, the other difference though is right here wheelbase wise. 4 inches shorter is the wheelbase on the Encore GX versus the Envista wheelbase. And then the overall length of the Envista is 11 inches longer than the Encore GX. So definitely more lower, more profile. The idea behind this is they're trying to make it be more like a sedan handling looks, but with the capability of a crossover. And when you get inside, that's where it becomes very surprising, because you would assume with this lower roof line that it's going to be, hard to get into and whatnot. But you're going to see, even with me being 6'2", it's very impressive in terms of the size inside. Now, underneath the hood of these, there are always going to be different motors in both of these in the ST trim. This one right here is going to have the 1.3 liter, 3-cylinder with 155 horsepower, or in and around that range. And this over here is going to have a 1.2 liter 3-cylinder turbo, both being turbos, of course. And it is going to have 137 horsepower, 162 pound-feet of torque, or 137 horsepower. I can't remember. I know the Trax is 1, and this for some reason has 1 horsepower less, I believe. But all that being said, there's also a different transmission in both of these. So this one here, you are going to have the 9-speed transmission. There is a CVT transmission available in the Encore GX as well when you get into the front wheel drive. And when you're going over here, and they have the 1.2 liter, the same engine offering here as they have in here, but not on this trim level. Typically, you're going to see the ST and the 1.3. This here has a 6-speed. So 1.2 liter, 1.3 liter, 6-speed, 9-speed. So definitely different in terms of that. Now, along the side, both these are going to have the same options when it comes to the ST, all right? Interestingly enough, 19-inch black aluminum wheels is an option. They both come standard with 18-inch black gloss aluminum wheels. Now, what's interesting though is when you get the 19-inch black gloss aluminum wheels in the Envista ST, you get a Watt suspension in the back, which is what comes standard on the Avenir. So a little higher end suspension if you get 19s. If you get 18s, you get the regular suspension, which, even that being said, is still a really good suspension. I can tell you that firsthand. Now, STs, both of these are going to have, aside from the wheels, they're going to have the black grille down here. As you can see, they're more the sporty version, right, than the Avenir. Have the ST badging in black. You're going to see that on both of these, of course. Down below, you're going to have the black gloss on both of these. You're also going to have the black gloss you'll see on both of these that not only goes there, but all the way over the wheel wells, down across the side, and then around the back here. You're going to see that obviously over here as well. One interesting thing to note is you do have the roof racks on the ST and the Encore GX. You do not have the roof racks on the Envista. And there's a major difference between these two, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, which could be the deciding factor for some of you out there. I don't think it should be a deciding factor for many of you, but I still think it may be, unfortunately. Now, as far as the actual back of this, you're going to find it's got 20 cubic feet of storage with the seats up, and I think it's 42 with them down, and I believe it's 23 on this, and it's 40 with them down. So it's again, it's a little bit different in terms of how they're laid out, but they're somewhat close in terms of that. But again, you're getting pretty much everything storage wise in this as you're getting in an Encore GX, surprisingly enough. And again, the price of this is going to be less than, of course, the price of this for a couple reasons, again, which we'll get to in a moment. Power liftgates on both, which is nice because the power liftgate is not even an option on the Chevy Trax. So if you're trying to compare the Chevy Trax, by the way, to the Envista, because again, this is comparable in terms of size and style, it does not have that offering. Now, the back of these is where it really looks different as well. Again, more of a coupe style design versus, again, more of an SUV, right? So SUV versus compact SUV car sedan style, right? You're gonna see this one has the third brake light up here with kind of like, you know, the kind of a spoiler coming out from here, and you have a rear windshield wiper. On this one, the window is definitely more angled. You have a little spoiler off the back, which I really like the looks of this. More of a modern style third brake light almost, I think, the way it's clear as opposed to the, you know, the red on this. And obviously a more slope windshield, but with no windshield wiper on the back of this. So you have the wiper on the back of that, not on the back of that. These are just little differences, but I do want to go over all the little things that I can tell you that are different between them. Another really weird little difference, and I'm going to tell you this firsthand, there's a reason for it, because they're trying to keep this as more the price point. And they've done it in a bunch of little ways that might irritate some, but if you're saving $5,000-$6,000, you might be okay with it. And one of the reasons is because, as we know, the Buick has the keyless entry on the doors, you can see here. However, keyless entry, however, not keyless entry. So we don't have the keyless entry on the back doors. We also don't have, which we're going to probably see in this one has the surround vision camera option. No surround vision camera in this, okay? So that's kind of a big difference for some of you out there, and maybe it may not. The other thing though, panoramic sunroof in the Encore GX because of the design of it, whereas we're only having a regular size sunroof from this. Again, I don't know what it's probably to do with the design. You got the shark fin on top of this, the older style aerial on the top of this. Again, I don't know why that particularly is, but that is a thing that is different between them. The other thing which I like with the ST in this model is they have the black mirror caps. They went the painted mirror caps with the Encore GX. Not exactly sure why they did that, but I like the breakup of the black mirror caps on that. But again, that's a personal preference, right? As far as the back seats are concerned, well, you know what? Let's talk about the big thing before that. And that is this right here. That is part of the reason why you might bump up to an Encore GX, aside from if you like the style of one more than the other or whatever it may be. That little tag right there, of course, means that this vehicle has the all-wheel drive option. This Envista, as beautiful as it is, does not have that all-wheel drive option. However, can I be the first to tell you, if not the first, hopefully not the first, if you get a good set of winter tires for this Envista, I think you are going to be more than fine, even in the most treacherous winter conditions, which is where I live in Northern Ontario, Canada. I think that this is still going to be a great vehicle for you in the money savings. And again, if you like the looks of it better than the Encore GX. Now, I'm not trying to tell you not to go to the Encore GX, but don't let this dissuade you from getting into the Envista, because I think you'd be very, very surprised, especially with the winter testing they've done. They did winter testing on these quite extensively, not too far south of where I live and north of where I live, on this vehicle without the winter tires, and it performed well. So that being said, all right, backseat wise, let's see if I can open this pretty close here, but we're good. Well, first and foremost, I like the stitching of this one. You have this blue character stitching. You're gonna see more in the front when we get up there. You might see a little bit here with the blue piping. But what I like about this is I am 6'2", and I can literally sit behind myself in this vehicle. There's lots of room where I can put my feet actually underneath. See there? And I still have leg room here. Now, the person who just drove this before me was a little bit shorter than me, but not by much. And there is a decent amount of headroom here. It's actually, it's actually kind of cut out. I don't know if you can really see that or not, but it does kind of get cut out there, as you can see. By the way, I didn't show this, but 60-40 split. There is one advantage that this vehicle, the Encore GX, has over this vehicle, and I'm going to show you that in a second. Now, the one weird thing I found about the back seat of this, though, and I don't exactly know why this is, again, cost-saving measure, I would imagine. Are you noticing the difference in the back of the seats here? Yeah, no pocket here, but there's a pocket here. I don't exactly know why. I would think you either do none or both, but whatever. Listen, if that saves a couple $100 and its overall price, I guess it is what it is. USB-C, USB-C charging, but no actual venting back here, as well as no armrest here with the cup holder. If we go over here to our brother-sister car, by the way, let's just show you this color too. Check this color out of the Encore GX. You like that one? Comment below. I'd love to hear what you think about that color. But if we go to the back seat of this one here, leather is a little bit different, so you don't have that blue stitching in here. You have both pockets on here, but the big thing is, of course, the same thing here, 60-40 split. These seats will drop down here. I can obviously just show you that very quickly. Oh, that seat's back far, but that'll drop down, obviously, right? Separating. The bigger thing, though, is right here. What's going on here? My seat's stuck here. Regardless, this seat will fold all the way flat. So you can have something from the back all the way to the front, up to 7 feet long in the Encore GX. The front seat, as the best of my knowledge of the Envista, does not fold completely flat in the same way. Now, heading up front, if you haven't seen the inside of one of these yet, I've done some videos. Let me just start it up here. The Envista has 11 inches of screenery. That is going to be standard in this vehicle, right from the preferred trim level to this ST level to the Avenir. There's 3 trim levels in both of these vehicles. It goes preferred, ST, Avenir, and we're of course in the middle trim level, which is the ST. So you can trim that a little bit differently. Heated steering wheel, heated seats, no separate climate control though. You will see that in the Avenir, but not in this model. You have wireless charging down here, but again, 19 inches of screen. So you have 11-inch touchscreen over here, 8 inches of fully programmable screen for all the gauges in front of the driver, okay? And you can have things like, you know, telebeam headlights and so on. I don't believe that the rear vision camera mirror is an option in the Envista that we're in right now, but it is an option in the highest trim level of the Encore GX. So if that makes a difference for you or not, that is going to be the one thing. But again, just quickly look at the layout of this dash. I do like, you know, they have this kind of textured material here. They have a different kind of design here in the door, so like a premium purse type of thing. And then you have your stitching here in blue. And again, as I showed you, maybe I didn't again, but you have the blue piping here, the ST in the headrest, and of course the nice blue stitching along here. I think that looks really nice. I like the contrast to that. Now, if we get over into this vehicle, let me just, now this can leave this running for right now. If we go over into the Encore GX, let's walk around and get on the same side at least. The Encore GX, again, with a little bit more subtle interior with the gray. You still have the ST in the headrest. Let's start this one up. You have a little bit of character here, as you can see. Starting this up. The screen, though, is the same. So you're going to have the same size, again, 19 inches of screen all the way across with fully programmable here. And then, of course, again, fully programmable, full touchscreen over here. Again, no separate climate control. And what's weird about this one, even though it's just a little bit higher in terms of money, this one doesn't even show the temperature on here. It just shows hot and cold. Again, when you get into the higher trim level, you have the ability to have the separate climate control. Unfortunately, not in this trim level. Again, these are small, narrower vehicles to an extent, so I don't know how much that matters. Also, there's Bose stereo system in this ST, and I did not see Bose stereo system in the Envista ST. So just as a heads up that way. Again, the sunroof in this, as I already talked about, is the pano sunroof, which is really nice. If you're a sunroof person. And again, we still have the soft touch dashes with the stitching in it and a little bit different material, but a similar idea. Although we don't have it in the door the way that they do over there. I don't know if we can see that. Let's go over there real quickly. See how they have that right there in the door? Or they don't have that over here in the door. So that's just one kind of difference there. But basically, for the most part, if I've missed anything, I'll put it in text along this video because I'm kind of doing this on the whim right now. But that is the differences between the new 2024 Buick Envista ST and the 2024 refreshed Buick Encore GX. Again, all-wheel drive option, no all-wheel drive. That might make a difference, but don't let it. I'm telling you, that is a good vehicle as well, especially for the price.